Um, thank you
Cat.
for being with us today, Tom. Yeah, we just love the name. So simple, so concise.
So on point.
Yeah. Word.
Maybe by the end of the podcast, you guys will start calling me by Thom.
Perfect. I was already thinking that. It's like Tom.
There you go.
We go.
That's how it'll go. So, but how's it going, guys? Out into the internet world. We have a special guest with us tonight. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. Thom Bulman here. He's he works on a really cool new school art, like Geek Squad. Everything is
tattoos.
Amazing. Yeah,
trademark
tattoos.
Yeah, buddy.
So I've actually been personally tattooed by him.
You whined the whole time too.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Hard to really tough on my wrist, on my arm, and kind of went from there. So if you want, kind of say a little about yourself, and pretty much go on.
I'm Thom Bulman. I'm from Cortland, New York, upstate New York. I own Alchemist Art Studios. Tattooing 13 years, I believe, give or take a few months.
It all merges.
Yeah, it all merges after the first 10. I just big toy collector, nerd collector, comic book collector, and I guess sometimes I do tattoos on the side too. Oh, then I guess my latest obsession is sneakers too. So I've been really into sneakers, like Nike Dunks and stuff like that. So I got like a million hobbies.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably picked some more up during quarantine.
Oh God. Not making any money, but spending money.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but yeah, what let's we'll start off with this. But like, what got you into like tattooing? Like, what was it that kind of inspired you to go the route you wanted to go?
What an original question, Dennis.
Kind of have to. Gotta got it. You gotta get the basics out of the way.
I've always been an illustrator, a drawer, a cartooner, or whatever you want to call it, since a wee lad. And years of doing that, I got into doing, like, I wanted to work at Disney doing cartoons and stuff like that. And then I got sucked into the rock life, and I ended up touring and playing in bands for 10 or 12 years. And during those years, I was always drawing people's tattoos while we were on tour. So we would stop like at a town or have a day off, and I would draw a tattoo for somebody, and then they would go find a tattoo artist to do it. And then after many years of not making any money and still living at your mom's house, you decide that music's not for you anymore. So you decide to transition into the maybe tattoo world. So I ended up taking all of my drawings and a nice little portfolio and got an apprenticeship at a town not far from where I was living, up in Rochester, New York, and
nice.
got an apprenticeship, and went from there. It was a biker shop apprenticeship too, so it was really trial by fire.
Wow, sick.
Yeah.
Was it like a high volume shop as well? Like street shop?
Yeah, I mean, I lived out in the country, so
okay.
It was pretty busy for the country. It was definitely a walk-in shop, really busy. But I wasn't there very long. There was a guy that worked there, was like a super, super militant vegan straight edge dude. And it kind of scarred me. He was also the piercer too. So, take that, cliche right there. So, we didn't get along. He was spitting in my Wendy's burgers and things like that. So I ended up leaving, going to a different shop. But yeah, like they got my foot in the door, and I'm appreciative of that. The guy's name was Rob Robinson. I think he's still out there in the same town doing his thing. Small fish, big pond. No, big fish, small pond. He's doing his thing. I'm out doing my thing, so that's cool. But yeah, there are a lot of walk-ins. Just it was really a trial by fire. I think I was there like a month, and then after a while, he's just like, "Go get a machine. I'm going to show you how to set it up. I'm going to show you the basics, and give me $100 a week, for your chair, and go tattoo." I did some shitty tattoos.
Oh wow.
I think we've all done the shitty tattoos.
Those are the ones you wish, like, for some reason, whenever I go home and I visit up in Rochester, I always bump into those first year tattoos that I did, and they're like, "Oh, it looks so good." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, "Yeah, you ever need me to touch that up?
Yeah.
Feel free to burn that off."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man. What's up, Brian?
What up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What up?
Yes,
Alright.
yes, indeed.
Just making sure.
Got here
'cause
just in time.
It's always sketchy when I first log in. Like something's never working or what. So
New laptop hype, PC master
Yeah.
race.
So, but no, you know what? It's funny because I think we've all we've done our fair share of shitty tattoos when we first started.
I think that's everybody. I hope.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, unless you're like a prodigy and you knock it out.
It's that real 1%.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I worked in Pennsylvania, I worked at a shop, and I worked in the same area as Ryan Ashley, in Connecticut, all that jazz. We worked in the same area, so I knew her when she was an apprentice, and she is that prodigy. Like from day one, she was fucking amazing, and I hated every second of it.
Wow. I don't doubt that at all. Her work sometimes I just she's one of the people that I see her shit and I'm like, I think I just need to hang it up because I don't know. How do you do that? She's nasty.
Definitely.
From day one in the apprenticeship, I go, "Oh my god, well, first of all, you're a hot girl. You automatically have a leg up on us fat, ugly tattooers." And then on top of that, I could tell that she was already killing it from the first tattoo, and I was like, "You're going to be set for life. You're good."
Yeah.
And she is, and she's a rad girl. She's a rad girl too.
Yeah, I know she's been up here. She's been up to Mass because she's friends with Kelly. So I know they.
Yeah, Kelly's dope.
'Cause Kelly's up in Salem
with the witches.
Yeah. So yeah, man, her black and gray skills are fucking crazy. So
that I don't even know what you call it, ornamental.
That jeweled ornamental, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so good.
Very on point.
Yeah, I don't even know, looking at the way it is now, where you see people from Instagram and you see there's a lot of artists I follow, and I'm just like, God damn, dude. There's been some that have only been tattooing a couple of years. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, the color schemes and everything.
It's just the edge that the newer tattooers have. I mean, I'm, like I said, 13 years into it, and when I first started, there really wasn't any YouTube channels you could watch or any of this shit. I mean, I still had to clean tubes, and I was taught how to solder, make needle bars and things like that. You don't even have to do that shit anymore. And just the level of these kids that are really art school kids are just coming out of, going to art school, and then, a year into tattooing are fucking doing the most mind-blowing shit you've ever seen in your life. Makes me just go, oh my god, I'm too old for this shit. Too old. It's ridiculous.
Definitely, but it's honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world though. Being a tattoo artist, I wouldn't change it at all.
Oh yeah, it's a great career. A little oversaturated right now, but it's a great career.
It is. I mean, that's why you always gotta try to stand out the best you can.
Yeah, you just got to be a fat guy with a head tattoo and post pictures of toys, and you're good to go.
That's the secret. All right, more toys.
Exactly.
All right.
More toys.
Yeah, man. You've been doing it for 13 years. I see, obviously I've seen your work firsthand, and all the stuff you post on, I'm amazed by, because I inspired to actually go towards, I always like the whole new school route. And
it's just funner.
It's fun. It really is. It's enjoyable.
You can't take yourself serious like the black and gray and the cholo artists and the scripts. New school is just fun. Don't get me wrong. All those are wonderful. Oh, they're great.
I love the cholo script and stuff. I love black and gray. I do work black and gray as well. But I started off doing that when I was a kid, when I was younger, just using a pencil. Like I didn't use color. I didn't start using like color until I was in my 20s. So like just drawing, not even like tattooing, just drawing. But yeah, there's a whole much more dynamic and rich aspect of being new school because you don't have to actually stick to guidelines.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so much fun.
You got to know the rules to break the rules.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, like your like I love a lot of your saturations, and then like the ideas you end up getting, whether it be from clients or whatever you do. I'm just it's funny. Like I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that just comes from now. I've just in the last I think 3 or 4 years I've gotten really picky about what projects I take on. So if I get since being on Ink Master, I get a lot of, and I appreciate it from the people that send it, but I get a lot of people saying, oh, I know you do this cartoon stuff and color tattoos, but man, you could really crush this geometric black work piece. and I always write back like, thanks so much, but it's just really not what I'm into. I mean, yeah. I'm sure I could crush it, but and then I usually give them like a reference to somebody that I know that does it really good and is passionate about it. Because at this point, I'm only doing stuff that like I'm really excited about and passionate about, which just hopefully there's clients out there that want to get cool nerdy stuff that I like.
Yeah, I mean, for you, how'd you, before you started doing your style, did you? I'm assuming you probably did a lot, a lot of everything, or a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's funny.
How'd you break away from that to become able to do what you want to do?
Yeah, totally. If you asked me 13 years ago, year one, what I'm doing, what I see myself doing, I would have told you I'm a traditional tattooer, because that's what I was into at the time. I think I actually did like traditional, like straight up traditional one pass, 4 colors, probably for about 4 or 5 years. And then I slowly transitioned to neo-traditional, did that for a couple years. I actually did black and gray realism for a year or so. And then I eventually, but basically it was as I got, and this is not a knock on traditional whatsoever, because I'm sure a lot of those guys can draw. But in the beginning, I was very not comfortable with my drawing skills. So of course you're gonna, look at the, Sailor Jerry pieces or any of the, Cap Coleman pieces and all these old Flash, and you just replicate it, because, traditional is very much more of the craftsman than it is like the actual art style, of it, if that makes sense. So I was more comfortable with that at first, because all I had to do was trace these and do exactly what they did. And then as I got more comfortable with my drawing and just, got, I don't know, the ease of it, I just got, would go from neo-traditional to, a little bit more realism. So I kind of figured out how to do shading and tones and shadows, and then kind of got into, the little beginnings of new school. And then it's in the last couple of years, it's kind of transitioned from like new school to more like, I guess, hyper realism caricatures. I don't even know what you call it right now, I just the broad term is I just say tattoons, but that really just means that means anything that's cool and fun and cartoony, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Funny.
Yeah, the cartoon portrait hybrids are definitely mind blowing.
Yeah.
I'm loving those, and like the paintings you're making of them are super fun.
Yeah,
like the exaggerated character aspects.
Those are fun. Those are fun because when I first was, tattooing, I had the fundamentals of, black lines, bold, put that black on shadow underneath there and just pack the color in. It's been kind of hard to break the habit of not putting as many lines, because those realism caricatures, there's really not much lines other than like the border going around the head, and then everything else is just shading in there. So like at times I have to pull myself back and be like, don't add that line there, because it's gonna look, not as realistic. So it's a little hard, but I'm slowly breaking the habit of
that. With those caricatures, do you essentially just kind of take the actual image and warp it and then draw it up in that format, or do you kind of just go for it?
Yeah, I'm not like a Sean Gardner or um uh, sorry, a fly just landed on me. I'm not like a Sean Gardner or any of those those kind of like caricature artists that like they actually studied and worked for organizations that where they went and did caricatures. I don't know if are you familiar with Sean Gardner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're actually like studied, like you could sit down, they'll sketch out, what your caricature looks like. I wish I was that skilled. Like the amount of talent that those guys had is fucking ridiculous. Oh, Nick Mitchell is the other guy I was thinking of, that works with Jesse Smith.
Yeah.
But I know what the end result looks like in my head, so I just get the image that I want, and usually takes me a long time to find the one I want. Or sometimes I'll take like the forehead from one piece and then kind of all merge it together, and then I take the warp tool and kind of move it around like that. But it sounds a lot easier than it is, because
Yeah.
I do the warp tool, and then I use the smudge, and I smudge out all the skin tones, and then I zoom in really far, like really close, and I use the skin tone brushes, and I actually build it up. So it's a full-fledged design. At least the ones that I print up and sell, those are fully fledged, a finished product.
Yeah, that's so cool though. Definitely.
And I take the same concept with the tattoos. Like I'll build it up like that, and then kind of just do like almost like a tracing that you would do for a portrait tattoo, and kind of build off of that.
Yeah, cool. Definitely cool. I still want to get that. I still want to get that Twinkie done though. Like I talked to you about it a while back.
That'd be awesome. You can't go wrong with Twinkies.
No, not at all. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, we've been like talking about saturation a lot lately, I think, in the shop, and I think that your work is a good example of some high quality saturation and gradients.
Well, thank you.
Is there any like changes you made? I think I saw you use a lot of Goliath needles, and that you said you're using those carts and like everything. Like, what about it do you like it from those cartridges?
I mean, the Goliath needles I love just because they're long tapered and they're textured.
Oh, they are textured. Okay.
Yeah, I use the ones that aren't. There's no membrane in the end of it, because they have the membrane. They have the membrane ones that are gold, and then they have the white ones. I like the normal ones because they still
with the
feel
band.
like the membrane ones. They just feel like you can't feel the needle moving, and it just kind of freaks me out. It freaks me out. So I use the white ones a lot. Really, it's not so much the needles as much as it is just slowing down. I realized in the last 3 years, you want to get that buttery smooth saturation and blends. It's just I use a lot of witch hazel. The entire process I'm using witch hazel, and then I put a little hustle butter on there, or at the time I was using tattoo balm, it was called, but now I'm using hustle buster. But it's the same shit, like redemption, hustle butter, balm. It's all the same crap. But just a lot of breaks, a lot of putting the ointment on there, or just taking breaks with witch hazel soaks, as I like to call them. And then really just slow the fuck down, and don't be afraid to just look. A lot of times I'll just take a picture of it, and then I'll walk away for a few minutes, and then look at the picture. Because how many times have you gotten home after a tattoo and you go, oh man, I wish I did this? Like you look at the photo and you go, fuck yeah, why didn't I do that? So I'll take a photo a lot of times if I'm really concerned about it, or just inquisitive, and I'll just walk away, go play a video game, or do something for a few minutes, and then I'll look at it and go, oh yeah, I need to boost the contours over here, or add a little, push these little depths, and add some more blacks, and yada yada yada, and then I'll come back and push it a little bit further. And I mean, I probably did with you, Dennis, right? Like when we get done, I call it first done. We would soak it, and then I would look at it and I go, okay, and then so a lot of times I just joke with the clients and say, okay, this is first done, this is second done, this is third done. Hopefully we never get to fourth done, but I've actually had a couple of times where I had somebody get tattooed, and they said they were staying in a hotel around the corner, and then I would call them back, and I'd be like, hey, come back, I forgot something, or I want to do one more thing. I'm an asshole.
Oh my
I'm an
God.
asshole like that. Yeah, I've totally done that a couple times.
That's sick.
It hasn't been recently, but I have done it.
Yeah,
Sick.
it's funny because there's some stuff like when I was getting tattooed by you that I was like, huh, that's interesting. I never would have thought of doing that. You know, like I've started to actually try using witch hazel on some of my tattoos. Um, because of you, I tried the dragon's blood balm,
Yeah, that's great stuff.
and I actually convinced Angelo to use it, and I actually had used it on a tattoo on him. The very first time I used it, I tattooed him, and I did an angry pencil slash Zion pen.
Oh, nice.
I'd post that like all new school and stuff. It was funny because originally he wanted it like this big. We ended up doing it like this big. So
You gotta bump it up a few percentages.
yeah. So so that was the first time I had tried it, and I was using yellows. I was using brighter colors. Um,
Now, did you do
and
the yellow first when you
no,
were coloring?
no, no.
That's the mistake I used to make all the time. Was I would do the yellow last, but I tend to do, other than the black, I put the blacks in first, but I tend to put the yellows in close to the beginning, because by the time you're done with the tattoo, the yellows, the blood is all bled out and it's nice and bright.
I do that now
Yeah.
too, which I found
Yeah.
strange. Is that like I used to save like, because I do primarily like a traditional kind of tattoo, so I don't really use like a canary yellow. I like to use like gold and
The
stuff like
gold.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually use it like kind of in the middle of all my colors, because I realized at the end it was like it's so messy too that like it was just kind of like
You
getting
almost feel
into
like
it,
it would
getting into a
almost
lot
like
of the other colors and kind of
yeah,
stain
it would
things, and
stain it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I ended up doing that last, and then I ended up using the witch hazel and like let it settle. Um, but I noticed a big difference from using A&D ointment and then using the balm, and it was just a huge
Yeah.
difference. And I think that I end up like that's how I ended up convincing Angelo to try it, and he's started using it since.
Nice.
But it was yeah, there was definitely like certain things I picked up from you. I'd wish I had a chance to actually really pick up more.
I'm sure they're all bad habits. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, I have a question actually, and sorry for being late. What's up,
No, you're good.
Brian?
It's
Nice
all
to
good,
meet you.
bro.
Nice to meet you, man.
So yeah, talking about like saturation and stuff. I've been tattooing. I think this is like going on to be almost 4 years tattooing.
Nice.
And I'm getting to the point where like I'm finally getting satisfied with packing in color and stuff like that. I've found what machines work for me, what needles work for me, and it's getting to more like the technical side of things rather than
Yeah.
just kind of like going at it. um, I think one of my bigger issues when I just did like a larger piece yesterday, because usually I'm very quick, um, but there's these pieces where I want to spend some extra time, and like the clients just can't, like they're not hanging. And it
Yeah.
seems like that's every single time I go for like a larger like neo traditional piece where I really want to do blends and I really want to spend the time to like I do witch hazel soaks and stuff like that. I really
Are
just want
you
to like
using? Not to interrupt you. Are you using any numbing agents?
I've tried them. The one I did yesterday, we did the outline, and then we used tack for about
I've used that a couple times.
for about half hour, and nothing.
What
Um,
I tend to do with the numbing agents is, um, one, I really don't tell the client that they have that option until a little bit later, because I
right.
feel like if you tell them, maybe you're the same way. If you tell them in the beginning, they're gonna expect it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I wait till I almost get, 75% of that tattoo, like at least most of the skin is broken open.
Yeah.
I try not to use it like with just right after the outline, because I feel like it's going to make the outline numb, but the rest of it
Yeah.
still hurts like a motherfucker. So I wait till about like 75%, and then I give them the option to start using it. The latest one I've been using is this stuff called Numb RX or Dr. Numb.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's linked in all my photos. It's a liquid, but this shit is amazing. And like sometimes when you use that numbing agents, you get that where it kind of swells up and the pores get really tight and you get those white dots. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
With this, I'm not getting that at all, and they're basically like sitting like a fucking rock, and they say I don't even feel it anymore.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I love that. I think the main thing with the numbing agents is just try to get as much skin broken open as possible, and then use the numbing agent.
Right. So I mean, I've been using a little bit of it. It's just not something I've used like the past few years, so it's not something I have like I don't have like a bunch of it readily available. So and then my tattooing, like even though I'm still taking my time, for these neo-traditional pieces, I'm still fast, and I still just can't seem to like get them to like that last like I want like another hour, but I can only give them about like 15 minutes, and it's just like they're walking away like plenty satisfied and like the tattoo, it's good.
Yeah,
but I just want to I want to do more.
You want that extra hour.
Yeah. So I'm still at that point where I'm just trying to find out how to especially like communicate that with clients if they want larger things. We're a street shop, now kind of more on the custom side, out of Connecticut. We're taking in everything, and like I'm moving towards larger custom traditional neo-traditional Japanese, and I want to spend more time on these projects. And I think my clients are still expecting me to be like super fast, and just get it done, and I'm just trying to find out that way to explain to clients too, like this is going to take longer. I need you to be cool with that, like how I don't know how to really like voice that with them.
What kind of machines are you using?
I use primarily coil machines.
And I will say I used to use Keith B machines, and what were the other ones I used to use? I can't remember the other ones, but Keith B were primarily ones I used all the time. But
those are great.
Coil machines, I fucking love coil machines, and I love them for lining and packing shit in, but they hurt like a motherfucker. So that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with is going to using I use the Zion, well whatever the wireless one is they have now, but going to rotary, it just seems to hurt a little less.
Right.
But you're also sacrificing getting that punch in there, getting it faster.
And I've been trying different rotaries as well. So now I'm lining primarily with the Dan Cuban Sidewinder.
I was just going to suggest that. Yeah, that's a great.
The thing is absolutely amazing.
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but because of Bryant, both me and Angelo actually have bought a Dan Cuban.
Yeah, they're great,
and we love it. Just because like especially me, I've been trying to improve my line work, and I think using Dan Cuban has worked out.
Yeah,
so much better for me.
Yeah, so for the style, the single pass bold lines, like the Dan Cuban does it effortlessly. I'm not worried about the outline at all, like how long it's taking and then not being able to finish everything else. You fly through the work, you fly through it. It's almost like cheating. And then for coloring, I've used like a little bit of everything. I haven't tried like a cartridge style tattoo machine, like a pen or anything like that, only because like as a traditional tattooer, like I still am very much in love with the aesthetic of tattooing with a coil machine or something that looks a little more like I have some rotaries that look kind of like they were made with some scrap parts, like they're not these polished like robot fingers, so like
they don't look like a dildo.
Right. So exactly, so I'm trying to stray from that kind of thing. So I've had like a Neotat, just use the regular needle on bar. The Neotat seemed to be pretty good as far as like longer coloring sessions. And I've used, Jay Kelly's new Automaton, which is like comparable to the Neotat. They're just slider rotary machines for needle bar. But then, I was using these coils, and I was in Philly back in January, and I picked up Blood Money irons from Tom Haley. And this thing,
Tom Haley's the machines I had before, because when I used to get tattooed by Dave Tevin on my head and stuff like that, I asked what machines, and Tom Haley hooked me up with his machines.
Yeah, Tom Haley was the coolest dude. I bought one. It was the slappy shader. Like the thing sounded so broken, but
amazing.
It's been absolutely amazing for all of my traditional work. It puts in the color and the shading single pass. It's amazing. So like I can't seem to get myself off of it when I'm trying, but I know I'm trying to do different types of work, and I just can't get the same results. So I'm using this coil machine. It's loud, it's heavy. I colored this thing for about 4 hours yesterday with a 9 mag and in a coil machine, and she was just not having it. Like, she wasn't having it, but she got through it. But like, I wish I had that extra like 30 minutes, to kind of.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I had to get through was when I was using coils. They're so thorough, they get it in there, they pack it in, they're fast, but they hurt like hell. And then as I had to make the conscious decision to go to cartridges and using rotaries just for the sheer convenience of at the time when I used to use coils, it was all just a couple needle groupings, that's it. But now I'm using 1, 3, 5, 9, like every fucking size group imaginable. I can't set up 20 machines for that, so the convenience and the fact that it hurts a little less, I'm willing to let that slide, because it doesn't hit as hard as the coils, but it also hurts less, and you got to have your give and take, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just worried about like relearning a whole new type of machine.
That's the thing, man. It's like there's a little bit of a learning curve, and you're gonna have to decide if that's something you kind of want to do, because every once in a while I feel like I want to do coils again, and I pull out my Keith B's and I try to do one tattoo with it, and I go, fuck this. I would have to learn how to use coils all over again, and then my wrist hurts, and I go right back to rotaries.
So I actually bought another rotary. Sorry, Dennis. I bought another rotary from Workhorse like the other day. When did I buy that, guys? Like the other day. It was like a Josh Bowers.
Mike Pike and Josh Bauer one, or no?
No, it's just a Josh Bowers, the big can. So it's a direct drive. It's got a little spring and an armature bar.
Josh makes good ones too.
And I can't get the thing to do anything.
Really?
You got to like push it into the skin. That's what I don't like about the idea of these rotaries, is like you have to forcibly like apply pressure. And I'm so used to the machine just like once the needles touch the skin, it's in there, and it's going.
Yeah.
I use like medium tapered textured mags, and it just packs in. It just goes, So I would relearn a whole new thing.
I honestly, for the style that you're saying, unfortunately I'm not familiar with your work, but I will check it out afterwards. But for like neo-traditional and traditional, I mean, I almost try to stick with what you're doing, because like the medium and the application is on point with what the coils and stuff like that. And just try to introduce some more numbing agents and things like that, so you can get that last hour out. Because I feel like with what I do and what realism and these certain aspects of new school, where you're just building up layers and you're constantly like building layer, and then saturate. Rotaries work best for that because they're so light and they don't hurt as much. Right. But for what you're doing, man, and I'm guessing that you're probably not doing a ton of fucking layering and blending like that. I'd say stick with the coils and just kind of figure out some numbing situations.
Cool.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
No, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Definitely does. Having a veteran artist, we're all three of us are under like the 10-year mark. Like we're way under the 10-year mark. I think Angela, you've been tattooing 6 years now?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm going on, I'm 5.5, getting ready to go on 6 soon. Bryant said he's going on 4. So it's good to actually get this advice from someone who's been in the industry for a while. But yeah, what I was gonna say is sometimes going to rotaries definitly helps with your hand. Over time.
Oh my God, my hand. When I used coils, I had carpal tunnel all the time, and now my wrist doesn't even hurt anymore. Like I would use coils, and when you get done doing an 8-hour long session, it would still feel like my hands vibrating. You know what I mean? And now nothing. So it's great on that. But that's one of those compromises you have to do,
right?
Because it's going to take longer to do the tattoo because it doesn't punch it in as hard as the coils.
Yeah. All of us, we all work together, and we all have at our shop. The cool thing about our shop is everybody that works there, we all have our own like unique style.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite things about working, there at the shop. I like working in the new school. I do enjoy doing, like, I've done some neo-traditional. I do enjoy doing that. Bryant, he's pretty much you've been doing a lot of traditional, neo-traditional, and like Japanese traditional. And his work's fucking awesome. Again, nice. Yeah, you definitely have to check it out once you get a chance. He just recently did a Medusa, which he did I think yesterday, right? Dude, that thing was fucking thick. Angelo, he likes doing his more real, like real
I never
texture,
know what to
realism,
call it. He just
and
does his stuff.
yeah, and like biomech. He's definitely a big fan of biomech.
Yeah,
I love
if I
Biomech's
could get
so
more
much fun.
tattoos for that.
Like but Angelo, you're more you are pretty open. Like you do a lot of everything, but
He does
your
everything.
style,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely like doing a lot of textured elements.
Texture's fun, man. You can go crazy with texture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can make it sloppy as shit, but when you stand back and look at it, it looks fucking good.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. It's fun to get loose in a tattoo sometimes, man, because I also like to focus in on, trying to get the crispy lines when I can. But yeah, the opportunities to get loose during like a realistic tattoo with some like more movement to it and like finer points definitely is a fun challenge.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think what drew me to like what I do, like the traditional and the neo-traditional, is obviously I got into tattooing because I saw that you didn't know how to like draw people's faces and a realistic elephant on the spot. Like I realized you don't have to be that kind of artist to do tattoos.
Didn't you know those people trace that shit?
No, I had no idea.
Yep.
I know my family was like, you should be a tattoo artist, and I was like, I can't draw all that crap. Like I've been drawing the same Zelda characters for like 15 years growing up as a kid. Like I can't
Me
draw
too!
like I just can't do that. And then I saw like the traditional work, and I was like, I could probably draw that. And then
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too.
but then I became like super obsessed with it, like really into it. Like I just like learning where it came from and why it's there and all this stuff. And then the neo-traditional, it was like, whoa, like I can do line weights and still do what I want. Because Angelo came up to me the other day when I was doing the Medusa, and he's like, so before you do the tattoo, do you decide like where you want your like light source coming from? And I try to like answer like, but in my head I'm like, this
Wait, you don't have like 5 light sources?
no, like I'm just like whip shading out from like different parts of the body and the face and stuff like that. I'm like, honestly I just shade it so it looks cool. I think that's what's really great about what I do, is that you still need some creativity to make it look good, but you don't need that like art school
Artistic rules and
like
stuff.
rule. Like you just make sure that your tattoo is done technically sound and
Yeah,
feels good and it looks good, and your client's happy and I'm happy with it. And I think
for
that's what
sure.
draws me towards that style. Especially like I dabbled in a little bit of like new school, like sometimes just make things a little more like blended and have big eyes and stuff like that. And I think that stuff is like super fun because like I don't you can do anything. You
I
can literally do
respect it
anything.
all, man. I respect where it all came from, and I look at fucking like Steve Bolt's tattoos and all the guys at Smith Street and all those fucking dudes, and like that shit is solid as fuck. And
They're,
like this day and
greatest
age,
tattoos in the world, but like
I couldn't do a one line pass tattoos to save my life now. You know what I mean? Like that shit's so fucking good. I wish.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've definitely, I definitely still, on occasion, I still struggle. Like, I feel like I struggle with my line work, at least in my mind. And it's why, like, with Brian giving us the idea to try out the Cuban, I noticed I got to try his out before, while mine was actually being sent to me. And dude, I was so stoked about it because I was just like one line and it just went right on, and I didn't have to actually try to sculpt it or do anything. It was just there. And I was just like, fuck yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But like even at Brian, even as a traditional, like they still, even though there's kind of no rules, there's still some rules that apply to it. And like I think you like nail it every time.
It depends if I'm doing traditional or if I'm doing
Yeah.
like traditional, like there's all those dudes that say they're traditional. It's like, yeah, but we don't do traditional. I don't do traditional. I do modern illustrative tattooing, like you take something that, you take a panther and then you can put like some crazy pink somewhere. Like, it's stuff that
there's still times I've seen.
I don't
like
really follow sometimes I do like the real bare bones traditional, like with the limited palette and the 2/3 black or 1/3 black, or
there's
but
so many subcategories now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just do a modern. I do a modern twist on what traditional is or was or whatever, and I like to use fun colors. I don't like to be limited to a small palette. Some pieces I'll do like, real strict, like this. I just red, gold, and the whole 9 yards. But
Yeah.
and then there's some where I'm just like, I love putting smoke from Eternal into every tattoo.
Great color.
I love just putting, crazy looking stuff, electric raspberry, like
Dude,
all just sorts of like
that's
bright.
such a fun color to use.
Coral
Yeah.
green is like, I'm on coral green now. Like that color is insane. It's like aquamarine, but it's like, I don't know. I
Just
saw the
slightly
Medusa
darker.
today. Like she came in the day after, and it was just like this color was just like
Yeah.
so bright. So I just like doing fun stuff. I don't want to be limited to like this traditional palette, because I see these dudes that are doing these clean traditional tattoos, but like there's something boring about it. Like they're so well done. Like the guy clearly knows how to tattoo, and then but I'm just like, I want like
You got to put your stamp on it.
well, put pink somewhere, like put something
Yeah.
crazy, like I don't
That's
know,
why I
like
like Destroy Troy's stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's
Or
out there.
do you follow Catacombs?
Yeah.
Fucking this dude is so fucking, and he's not good at just like funky traditional. He does new school. He does a bunch of shit. Like everything this dude does, I don't even know his real name, but his shit is fucking on fire. It's so good, and it's clean.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate him.
Now, I noticed, you had during, when I went and saw you, you had multiple different like types of different brands of ink. Or like, do you like certain types of brands, or do you kind of try to mix and match and see what happens?
I mean, I kind of go with whoever gives me the sponsorship.
Yeah, buddy.
At the time, for a while, it was world famous. But they, the guy that had brought me on the team with a bunch of other people like Josh Herman and Find Your Smile, Russell, and a bunch of other people, he had left world famous and he went to Eternal. And he had been bugging me for a while to come to Eternal. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy with world famous.
They have a lot of good colors, world famous.
Yeah, they have a lot of great colors.
Yeah.
And then, finally, enough people had left world famous that I think at the point when I left, I only knew one person. It was the guy that sent me the inks from the store warehouse, Tony. So at that point, I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll go over to Eternal and try that out. I mean, because I started with Eternal when I first started. Yeah. So, like, I was already familiar with all the colors. And, he basically, he also works for Tetzel, Critical.
Hustling.
I think he works with Electrum, too. So he does a bunch of different marketing and stuff for each one of those. But he basically, he runs video game tattoos, too. I don't know if you follow that website.
Sick.
Video game tats.
Yep.
So like he kind of was just like dangling the carrot in front of me, so I was like, all right, I'll try it, So now I'm on Eternal, and I'm really happy with it. They're all really good. And then the one thing that World Famous never really did was, if there was a color that they didn't have, I would send them messages and be like, hey, I really need a color like this, and they'd be like, yeah, we'll get to it, but they never did. With Eternal, I've mentioned a few colors, and they're like, yeah, that's awesome. We definitely needed to make that color. So hopefully those colors we've made.
Sick. Yeah, I remember you getting sponsored very recently by Eternal. That was that must have been an exciting moment for you.
Yeah, it was cool because that's the ink company that I used in the beginning, and going kind of full circle is really fun.
They literally have everything.
Yeah,
like, they have really so many fucking which is funny because they have so many colors, and yet I found at least 4 colors that they didn't have that I needed.
So let's hear about the colors. I'm very intrigued. I want something to feel hype about. What are they cooking up for us?
What was the one that I'm trying to remember? Well, a lot of them are just skin tones. So like they have these skin, like Afonso sets and some other stuff that they're very like on the brown side of the skin tones, and I'm kind of like, I like to be more on the pinks and reddish colors. Okay. So I'm trying to get them to like cook up a better skin tone set that's on that end of the spectrum. I definitely reference if you ever had the world famous zombie set, there's a color.
I've had parts of them.
There's a color in there called bile, and it's like dark. It's almost like how how Timmy B uses plum in every single tattoo he does.
Yeah.
Well,
I use plum too, so I'll admit to that.
we all have a color like that though.
Yeah, but plum still got like real heavy on the purple. Well, bile is like real heavy on like the deep dark red, and I use that in every single caricature I do tattoo wise. So I'm trying to get them to replicate that in their own their own copyrighted form.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So
what's your favorite eternal color? The other question, just the question of like the other ink colors, but what are your favorite internal colors, or if there is just the one that is like this is the one?
I love smoke. I fucking love that color. The Frank Sinatra set.
Oh
yes. Yeah.
The color Frank put in there is amazing.
So true.
I would also say the Kelly Doty Resurrected set is really amazing.
Dude, I use that set all the time. The only one I didn't use for a while was the what was it? The moss, the new moss or whatever. It's like slightly green. It took me a while to figure out the color, like to use it, and then once I finally figured it out, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, those two sets I'm always using, and then my favorite color, hands down, is Bermuda blue.
Nice.
That seems to be a lot of people's favorite color.
It is bright.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Man, I had something.
I feel like those sets that you mentioned have great textures to them. That's like I love like the consistency and the way it goes in.
Is, the Halo set. Halo has some really cool colors.
I need to try more of those. I love the Cosmos one.
Do you use that to like blend with colors, or do you use that as like more solid colors? A lot of that set are very bright.
I use it to blend with.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I figured they were more used for.
I'll dirty dip, from a bright yellow into like his solar flare yellow and what stuff like that.
Yeah. For skin tones, now I'm still trying to figure out I've still been trying to figure out like the blends for like skin tones. I've had like weathered leather, and I've used that to like like a fawn and stuff like that. But I haven't found my niche when it comes to like using creating a skin tone. Do you have any advice on that perspective?
Honestly, the set that I'm using right now, I hate like custom mixing them every tattoo because I want consistency. The set that I'm still using is the world famous flesh tone set. I'm trying to think what it's called. Alfonso? No, that's Eternal. I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember. But there's a skin tone set. There's a skin tone. I think there's only one skin tone set for world famous, and that's the set I use with that bile from the zombie set as my darkest tone. Right. And then I always have like a very I'm trying to think the color of it. Like there is actually a fusion ink. It's almost white, but it's got a little bit of yellow in it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. If you know fusion.
I don't think
I haven't used much fusion.
Fusion.
That's the only fusion color I use, where it literally is like one tone away from being white, but it has just a dash of yellow in it. And I'll take my lightest skin tone and I'll dip it right into that yellow, and then it gives me a really good base foundation, and I build off of that. For my other than white, but that's my brightest. Like like right here, I would use that in this spot and up here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If my big nose gives you an example of what I'm talking about.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd used a while back. I'd done a Boba Fett pinup, and I'd used like the weathered leather, and I want to say it was whiskey barrel and like the white font, and like. I like how it came out, but
Cocoa Bean is really good too.
Yeah.
You ever use Cocoa Bean from Eternal?
Yeah, I have that. I have that as one of
That's a really good one too.
So yeah, I'm still trying to find my niche when it comes to like skin tone.
Yeah, Cocoa Bean I'll throw in there for like the corners of the eyes and the very deep nostril ones. For those deep tones, I'll throw them in there.
That's good. Oh, interesting. It's good to know. Definitely helpful. So. Any colors that have ever given you like an issue? Like at least when you first started, or even now?
You know what's funny is like, Josh Payne's not with me right now because he moved to Colorado on me, but
Oh,
Bummer.
he used to bitch about he doesn't tattoo blues, and I really don't ever see him tattoo greens that much either, like large green pieces. And greens and blues, I could fucking tattoo that shit all day long. I love.
Yeah.
And really, it's just about pumping those colors in there, letting them bleed out a little while, and then going back and just blending them some more.
Oh man, cool. So does that mean like since Josh Payne's gone, like are you just working at the shop by yourself?
No, there's a kid named Eric. So like, how long ago were you there at the shop? I'm trying to remember.
Last May.
Okay,
So
so
I remember he was working on. I know he was working on a sleeve. Like when Josh Payne was there, he was working on a like animal sleeve. I don't know if it was cover up or not because I think he was doing like gorilla or something.
Yeah, that crazy cover up.
Yeah,
I think he's finished that now. But I'm trying to think. What was the question? Oh yeah, my attention span's so horrible. So yeah, there's a kid named Eric that works there, and he used to work around the corner, and the shop that was Josh's old shop closed, and so he came up and was working with us. And then this kid named Matt, he used to work at my old shop at Classic Trilogy up in Syracuse.
nice.
And he had moved to the area, so he works there too. So it's all just appointment only stuff. So there's 3 of us up there, and my old apprentice Evan shows up every once in a while, and he does some tattoos and stuff too. So it's still pretty busy in there.
Oh, nice. Oh man, I bet, dude. I gotta say, man, that shop was fucking awesome. Like to go in there and see all your decorations and stuff, and all your
It's even more full
things.
Now.
Huh?
It's even more full now.
I don't even know how much more full it could get. That shit was crazy.
Oh, I take shit down, I reorganize it, put it in new shelves up. I'm a master at that.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
shops, like it's just like top to bottom, like there's just stuff everywhere. Like the only I've been to Seven Swords Philly, and Mike just got it's just everything. There's just so much stuff, animal heads and like
Yeah, I've been there too.
Everywhere.
My buddy works there. It's awesome.
Like, oh my god.
Now, obviously, this year for all of us is it's been kind of shitty for the most part. Not even kind of, it's just been shitty. Lucky enough, we've all started working again. How'd you handle like quarantine during that time frame when everything was shut down?
I went crazy. You mean I had to turn into a teacher, and me and my wife had to teach my 3 children? Yeah, it was not fun. Not fun at all.
Oh man, I bet, man. How long were you shut down for?
March 17th till January, till June 22nd or 23rd, something like that.
Okay.
So way too fucking long.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me. We were kind of going nuts ourselves. Last couple of weeks, we were just like, we got to fucking tattoo. We got to do something.
Yeah.
We're back at work. 2 months now? A little over 2 months now.
Yeah.
We came back
well, lucky you, because I had to work with Josh Payne, who got everybody infected with COVID, so we had to shut down for pretty much a month.
Oh shit! Really? He got sick.
I mean,
he got it.
He didn't mean to do it, but yeah, everybody.
Well, of course. What was he doing? He must have been on vacation. Shit.
Everybody got it except for me.
Oh damn!
Wow.
I don't understand, but
what was the severity of the virus?
So Josh had it, and he was asymptomatic, so he had no signs whatsoever. And then surprisingly, my client got it, and I guess he was supposedly fine, asymptomatic. Matt, my other coworker, got it. He actually was coughing up pretty good and said it was like a really bad flu. His wife got it. His daughter got it. So everybody in his house got it. So I don't know have you ever been in the quarantine zone yet? Like, have you been the phone calls from the state?
We've all been pretty good at this point.
So he was basically quarantined for a whole month. And then Evan, my old apprentice, was there the day Josh was there too. and he fucking got it. So he was in quarantine. And because I was near Josh, even though I didn't have it because I got tested, I had to go in quarantine for 2 weeks too. And then while I was in quarantine, like a week later, my daughter got it from her friend's mom. So then I had to, every time, like, I think it was I got exposed on the 3rd of July. So I was supposed to be out of quarantine, halfway through July. Well, a week later, they call me and say, hey, your daughter's got it. So now you're quarantined. We got to add another 7 days. So then they fucking added that on. So by the time I got out of quarantine, it was almost the end of July.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's unfortunate.
and they're serious up here in New York. They have like almost like truant officers, and they'll call you every day and ask how you're feeling and everything like that. And if you basically say, fuck this, I'm leaving the house, like if they get a wind of it, they'll send they're basically police officers to come to your house and check up on you. And if you're not there, they'll go out and find you, and then they'll bring you back to your house and they fine you $2,000 per offense.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great. I know New York, obviously more southern New York, things have been crazier because of the city and everything. So
yeah,
I don't know if they've been just as crazy for you.
It's all over New York. It's crazy like that.
Wow. Damn.
But that's why we're number one for the least amount of infections right now.
Yeah, because you're upstate New York, so I was just wondering. I definitely was curious about whether things were a little different because you're upstate New York compared to, New York City and Staten Island and all that.
Still about the same.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for us, like we've taken our precautions. We've spread everybody out at the shop.
Yeah.
So we've done our best to make sure that nobody, everybody feels safe and whatnot. Unfortunately,
the hardest part for me right now is all my customers are from out of state. So I basically, my wife does all my booking, and if somebody's coming from say Arizona, which just happened the other day, I make them take like a COVID test, and I have to see the results right before they fly out here, or we reschedule. Because if they're coming from a hotspot, I either say you got to show me a test. It's like a few days, like I need to know right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
or we're rescheduling. So that's the hardest part.
It definitely must be tough for you because of the fact that like you probably get people from all over the country.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, and then on top of that, we do, your typical, we got the thermometer thing when you come in. I'm trying to think. It's funny. I put all these signs in the ground that says 6 feet apart. You know what I mean? And like everybody comes in like, well, how are you going to do 6 feet apart if you're tattooing me? And I'm like, well, those are for the people walking around.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I'm going to be in your bubble. But like the guy that is gonna stand around, he's not gonna stand on top of you. He's gonna stand over where the fucking sticker is.
Word.
Yeah,
we're doing like masks. We can't like as far as like the state. I think they were like talking about wanting face masks and stuff, and I invested and got those for the team. But like, we cannot fuck with the face mask. Like I don't see anyone tattooing with it on, but it's something that can't be done. Like the shields, the mask, yes, the mask.
The face shield. The face mask I've gotten used to, but like the shields, I can't do the shields.
We can't even see half the time because like
glasses and a mask.
And it just
I don't know about you, but like with I can't use like the face masks that like the custom cloth ones that people are getting made. I can wear those to the store, but I can't wear them doing a tattoo because they're too hard to breathe in. So I use the medical ones, but like I don't know about you, but I have to put it on a half an hour before I start like the tattoo or before the client gets there to get used to it. Because like for the first half an hour to an hour, I'm just sweating profusely, and then by the time like an hour is into it, I forget that I have the mask on, so I'm normal at that point. But I have to wear it for a little while before they even get there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe it's a fat guy thing.
One of my friends that works in the hospital, and her father's like in a respiratory unit as a RN, like an emergency respiratory RN, had warned like not to wear the masks for too long and like too consistently. He's like, if you guys are doing 8-hour shifts with masks on, make sure either you're rocking it with like just over your mouth with your nose out, or that you take time like every couple of hours to take like 10-15 minutes just to get fresh air, because they're getting a lot of like respiratory infections that are coming from excessive mask wearing and use. So that's something that I'm concerned with as well now.
Yeah,
but
when I walk to the bathroom, I take it off and hang it on one ear, and then breathe for a little while, and then come back in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Usually
think
we're
that's
not
the real
tattooing.
adjustment for us.
We'll try to kind of put the mask kind of like on our chin, let ourselves breathe for a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're all so shell shocked by what happened with Josh that because before the four of us weren't wearing a mask when the clients weren't there. You know what I mean? Because we were just like, oh, we're around each other, and that's how we got. That's how everybody else got sick. So now we're all wearing that. We're wearing masks. Like if somebody comes in the room, we put a mask on right there, even if it's someone we work with.
Yeah, I think we've
that's
been
a good
around
note
each
to
other
take,
for the
because
past 2
we
months.
we are on that level, but it is easy to get jaded, and there may be more cause for concern than we're thinking. I think it's so easy to start.
And I think just learning experience of being locked in your house for 14 days for actually it was like 21 days for me, and then like a month for my one coworker. Like that shit sucked. I mean, you literally felt like you were a prisoner, and you literally didn't want to leave your house because the cops would show up and you get a fine. And I was like, I never want that to happen again, so we're not taking any chances.
Don't blame me, man. It was hard for us too, just because we have a 3-year-old, and when you're three, I've told these guys the same thing, but when your 3-year-old says he's bored, you know what I mean, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough because he was supposed to start preschool the week that everything got shut down, and so now it's lucky enough my wife, she's a teacher, so we still communicate with him and try to teach him anyway.
Nice.
But speaking of which, on a side note, this has nothing to do with tattooing. How's your wife? I know you said
she's doing good.
Yeah, I know she was going through some stuff. You guys were.
Yeah, she ended up getting a hysterectomy. It's a rough surgery for sure. And I think it was like 4 hours in the surgery. The thing with the doctors is they try to get you scared, and they're like, she should really be recovering for 6 weeks. And I'm like, I can't take 6 weeks off. What are you, crazy? So yeah. I took a week off to see how she's doing, and then I went back for one day, and she was definitely struggling with the lifting and things like that. So then I took a few more days off, and I have today off, and then tomorrow, and then as long as she's feeling a little bit better, then I'll go back to work on Tuesday. So it's just such a weird surgery where like 1 minute you're feeling great and you feel totally normal, and then the next minute you just like feel like your fucking gut is just like hurt, like extremely like being ripped out of your body. So she's a strong woman. I would be in fetal position for 4 months straight. So she is amazing. She's doing great.
Good. I'm glad.
That's awesome.
I know, like, obviously I saw you post something about it, the other day. So, I'm glad that everything's going good.
Yeah, she's a trooper.
So, but yeah, man, like it's, I don't even know where to go from here at this point. I don't know if anybody else has something they want to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. One thing I definitely was curious about, that Dennis kind of said that it was something you tried or do for the tattoo, is like leading off with some of the lines done with like a single needle pass to like get some of your stencil secured, or just to
fun,
begin.
by the way.
Yeah, it always is. That's just an old habit where in the mid 2000s, we didn't have like this stuff called stencil stuff, so we had to use deodorant, and the stencil would always come off super fucking fast. So I just got in the habit of putting the first line really fast with a single needle. That way I could just build off of it and build the lines. Little did I know years later when I got the Guy Etchson Reinventing Tattooing book that's actually how he does his stuff, is he does a single line pass and then builds it up from there for all of his biomechanical stuff. So I was like, wow, I guess I figured it out on my own. It must be doing something right.
Do you feel like
nice.
that's a little longer because you have to like re-outline stuff, or do you feel like it comes to your benefit?
I mean, it's definitely more of a creature of old habit type thing for me. I mean, do I absolutely need to do it? Probably not at this point, but it's just I feel like if I do the first line and it's a little bit thicker than what I wanted, I feel like, oh, I should have just done that single pass first, and then I don't know. It's just I'm a creature of habit, so I tend to just do what works and stick to it. So, and it just feels so good on you, and I just love watching my customers squeal
Yeah, that
in
was
pain.
funny because during that time, I'm just like, yeah, that sucks right there. Yep, definitely using a single. Like I can tell the difference between using a single line.
Needle is like a razor blade, just fucking
Yeah, it definitely is.
just
So,
slicing you open.
you know, how many times I've done that on my clients as well. They're like, wow, definitely changed a little bit. You know.
Oh yeah.
Um, the other thing I had noticed, and I had asked you during our time, was I don't know if you still do it now, but you at a certain point in time during the tattoo, you would actually like wipe white.
Oh,
like
the
over.
Bulman whitewash.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I just thought that was interesting, and I'm like, why do that?
I
And like,
I tattooed Joe. I think I might have told you the story. I tattooed Joe Capianco,
yeah,
and I did that on him, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why did you just wipe on me?" And he's like, he kept saying like, "What is this, some European thing?" And I was like, "No, I just I like it because, and I've always, one day I you know how when you get a little black or a darker color and you wipe it over the top of the tattoo and it stains something.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that sucks. You know what I mean? But another time to get the black off, I just put a little white on there, hit it with the witch hazel, and it would get everything off. So it would freshen up the skin. And a lot of times too, like I don't really do it for this reason anymore, but like when I was first doing it, if the white was really sticking in a spot, like if you were wiping it off and it was taking a long time to get the white off of one spot, it means you were overworking it. So it kind of was like an early sign of like, hey, stay away from that fucking area right there, or you're gonna chew this motherfucker up, you know?
Yeah. Interesting.
But a lot, I still do the whitewash. I usually try to do it only towards the end now, just to kind of give it that last little pop, just to freshen everything up.
I noticed. Yeah, we figured like, we were all debating like over why you did that afterwards. Because I explained it to everybody in the shop, and I'd be like, and we're all like, maybe that's it makes sense if in the sense of how if you put light colors in, then you put your dark colors in, you might stain the white colors or the lighter colors.
Yeah.
So we figured if you're putting white on it and then you go over it, it's going to kind of help blend that tattoo, like blend that color a certain way. So we had all our different theories on how, like, why you would do that.
It's
so it was always just like curious. It was always just curious for me.
It's mainly at towards the end, and it's when you put on all the white highlights and like the white outlines, and you put that fucking white on there real quick. You wipe it with the witch hazel, and all those fucking whites just pop really good. it's totally for the fucking photo. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It has nothing to do with the longevity of the tattoo. It's just for the fucking photo.
Word.
That's hilarious. That's funny. So,
but it's funny because every time I tattoo a tattooer that's never been tattooed by me, and the second I take that white and I dab it down, and then they see me wipe it, I can see their face go, "What the fuck?" And they go, "Why did what was that?"
Secret.
And I go, "Oh, that's the Bulman whitewash. You've never seen that before?"
I was more or less curious about it when he did that, so I was like, "Huh, interesting." So,
how many people do you think are out there doing it now that you've tattooed them and did that? And do you think they pick up on it?
I mean, maybe at least 10. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh man, what? It's funny. So with everything that's been going on, like, did you have to cancel like a lot of things? Like, did you have to cancel like conventions and
oh yeah, I mean,
like guest spots and stuff like that?
So I have I'm working in conjunction with the video game tats. So we have a shop down in Charlotte, North Carolina, Volt Tattoos, and I'm supposed to go down there once a month from now until forever. And I had to cancel all those because Charlotte's a hot spot, so I ain't going down there right now at all. And then
Florida's a hot spot in general.
Yeah, and then I had another convention that a pretty big one, Fredericton, I think it's called. It's up in Canada, and that was supposed to be a really cool one. I had to cancel that. But there's just been a bunch of conventions. Literary Inc., which is the Harry Potter convention down in Tennessee. I had to that got canceled too. So pretty much all the conventions have just got canceled.
All the conventions got canceled. I was supposed to do Wildwood like 2 weeks ago. I always do Wildwood.
I was supposed to do that too.
Really? Yeah, I love doing Wildwood because I do that every year, and I was wicked bummed that got canceled. Yeah, because it's one of my favorite ones to do. And this year was supposed to be my year to do more conventions, but I only ended up, but obviously that didn't happen. So
the good thing about all this is, so like when right when I got off Ink Master, I was doing a lot of conventions because I don't know if you know this, but when you're on Ink Master, Troy and everybody, he offers a free booth to everybody that's on Ink Master. So I was doing as much as humanly possible because I was saving money. You didn't have to spend on the booth, so you're you're already in the green. But my wife said, "Hey, you need to be home a little bit more because I have one autistic son and my other two kids," and she said I needed to be home more. So we've basically settled on like I think 4 or 5 conventions a year. Mm-hmm. But now, there's been no conventions for it. By the time conventions come back, it might be a year. So like I could be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a shitload of conventions because I've been home for a year. I've been home.
That's my goal too.
Yeah. Yep. I love conventions. I love the camaraderie. I love just seeing old friends and homies and just I miss my family and I miss all that, but I'm also there to work hard and do some really fun tattoos. But I'm also there to network and meet some new people and people that I look up to and all that jazz.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that, and we all understand that. It's always fun. I definitely enjoy it. The worst part is just the packing up and bringing it, all that. But once you're there, it's always fun.
Yeah.
But my goal definitely my goal this year, and I had said this to my wife, and I was like, yeah, this year I definitely want to do more conventions. I usually stick to doing the Harvard convention. I do the Wildwood convention.
Tommy's was canceled, right?
Yeah, Tommy's was canceled. We actually did right before the everything happened. We had done because Tommy's did a new convention. The guy Tommy he had called the New England Tattoo Convention in Mohegan, and the whole shop went pretty much.
It was good.
And it was honestly
great show.
We definitely lucked out. Like I personally wasn't sure how it was going to be because it was the first time for the Mohegan Sun Convention.
Yeah, I heard
we
it was
all
great.
Stayed busy. Yeah, we all stayed busy.
I liked it a lot better than Hartford. A lot better.
Yeah. Josh went and said it was great.
Yeah. I didn't even get a chance to say hi to him because because it got so busy for all of us that it we maybe had about 5 minutes to walk around throughout the whole 3 days we were there. But it was fun. We definitely enjoyed it. I hope that it definitely happens again next year. The whole shop got to go.
Nice.
We got to represent ourselves, and we're at a casino. What the fuck else are you gonna do?
Yeah, those are always fun.
Yeah.
I did Philly in January. That was my first out of state convention.
Oh, Philly's crazy.
Philly was huge.
It's too big.
I had my own booth because the shop I was supposed to go with, I had left that shop. So I went by myself because I still had the booth. And I didn't really do anything. I tattooed.
That's the problem with Philly. There's too many people and not enough people coming in.
And I'm still a newer tattooer. It's my first time being out of state. But I did meet an Instagram homie that works in Buffalo.
What's the guy's name?
His name's Josh Johns. He works with Taylor Heald.
Oh,
at,
Taylor. I used to work with Taylor.
what's that shop called? His shop is called
Crucible.
Yes, Crucible. Yeah. So his the guy Josh there, we were kind of like Instagram homies, like sharing likes back and forth. And I got to meet him and tattoo him. So that was fun.
Nice.
And then that's where I met Tom Haley, with the machines, and found a machine that has, if there was anything I got away from that trip was getting that one single Blood Money
Nice.
Irons machine, and like doing
Better
like
do
the
it.
work I'm doing now with it. But it was, I didn't really mind that I wasn't tattooing because I got to see so many different things than you would see at like Tommy's.
It's
like,
a good convention for networking.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Walking around meeting people.
It was crazy big, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did a small one after that. The small one I went to when I was in it was Syracuse at that hotel, that little biker hotel.
Oh, you went to AmJam?
AmJam.
That's near me. Yeah. So
AmJam was sick.
Funny story. That I used to go to it, but it used to, because it's run by the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, but
oh yeah, I knew that.
AmJam used to be one of the country's only tattoo conventions back in the day. Like Guy Atchison used to go there, and all these other famous, Paul Booth, and I think at the time there was probably only two or three conventions in the country, and AmJam was one of them. But years later, as you saw there, it's run by a different company, so it's not what it used to be. But that used to be a great. I mean, it's still fucking busy. Like if you go there, you're gonna be busy.
I worked out of I wasn't in the main area. I worked out of the Tommy's booth.
Yeah.
And I did a couple tattoos on tattooers actually, and that was pretty much it. But that I had a blast that weekend. Like the first night, fun. I just got like, there was this guy, an old school tattooer. I think his name was like Rich or something, but he tattoos at home now. He's just an old school guy. And I just remember drinking way too much and talking to this guy till 3 a.m, just fascinated by like these old school things he had to say. And I'm like, whoa.
He's probably one of those dudes that was there when it was the shit. You know what I mean?
He was
really crazy.
This dude was crazy, and the more I kept drinking, the more like interesting he was. So like that weekend was just so crazy. I remember like they had a little food stand, and I was ordering all this like jail food that they were making, and like all this crap. I was just like, it was a blur, but it was like so fun. Like that weekend was so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I live about a half an hour away from where you were.
Yep. Yeah, it was a cool trip.
That's awesome. That definitely sounds like it would have been a blast to go to.
I think they're struggling with it though. I had talked to I think the woman that runs it now, her name is Patty.
Yeah,
and
Patty.
I think she's struggling with maybe because now with the whole virus thing, but she was concerned that it wouldn't even happen next year, even without the virus.
I think for the last 5 years they've been like, oh, we might do it next year, but they always seem to do it. So
yeah, and I think
that wouldn't surprise me.
If they were like, this is what I heard, if they were kind of like actually going to shut down, I think Tommy was going to try to do something with it, but I'm not sure. But
that'd be cool.
I would do it. I would do it again, because even if I don't tattoo, like that was just we got to go hang out, guys. Like it was so crazy. It was so crazy.
Cool.
If Tommy's took it over, I would go. I would go again. That would be fun.
Yeah,
because he does good. He does good shows.
Yeah, the ones he's been throwing have gotten really great. Like he's definitely evolved over the years. It's been nice to see.
Yeah, we've talked to him every once in a while. We talked to him during, at least at one point during Tommy's. One of us has. Do you remember the Paradise Tattoo Gathering? Back in the day.
It was
run by like
Massachusetts, right?
Yeah. It was like upstate Mass. Like.
Yep. I went to it the first year.
Yeah, I did too. I only went for like one day though. And that was
really
way years before like I even considered being a tattoo artist.
Oh wow. Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Yeah. So
did we lose Bryant?
No, we lost.
Oh no. Okay, it just cut for a second and swapped.
We lose Bryant during this. But did you ever go to the year after the artist retreat?
No, I did not.
I had done that. It was just all like painting and stuff with artists.
Yeah.
We know tattoo artists. It was fun, and we've talked about it before. Obviously, with everything that's happened with off the map and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
over the past couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Angela and I, we've talked about it, and it'd be cool to have something like that again. You know what I mean? Like to have like a retreat, like an artist retreat, or like a gathering just like that.
I think what the closest thing you get to that now is the Explorer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, like
Do they
with
tattoo at the Explorer?
No, they don't tattoo. It's just it's just like I think 2 or 3 days of just seminars. I think it's like 4 seminars a day or something like that.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out because that seems awesome as well. And I'd love
It's
to.
yeah,
I would love if
it's
there was a new event with like actual like a mixture of the seminars and tattooing and networking
you
and just like kind of the
yeah.
getaway of it.
Usually they do it like right after a convention. So like they did it right before St. Louis convention, and then you go right over to the convention hall or wherever they have it, and you do that for 3 days.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Like, we definitely would love to do something like that again. Maybe, eventually, like we originally, we had a connection with like Tommy, and and at some point we would have wanted to talk to him about it and maybe create a new Paradise Gathering, but obviously it would probably be called something different, just due to the fact that of the
Yeah.
It'd be
tie
called
to
Tommy's Gathering.
Yeah.
yeah, probably called
Perfect.
something like that.
Tommy
But
everything.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
but yeah, like I remember going, when that had happened, that that was the first convention I ever did, like walked into and got to explore and expand and stuff like that. Because a buddy of mine knew a tattoo artist who essentially he introduced me into tattooing, and I'm like, I had a blast doing that. And the following year, I got to the artist retreat, and that was fun because all we did was painting. Sean
Nice.
Barber was there. Guy Ixton was there. We did like tons of like figure drawings.
Funny
like
story
that.
is Sean Barber is from Cortland, where I'm from.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he originally like a teacher? He was originally like a teacher before he became a tattoo artist.
He might have been. I don't know that much, but I know that he has a lot of his paintings around here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, but it like we talked about it for the past year. We're like, it'd be cool to have something like that, just to bring everybody together again, do seminars.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's not really a thing anymore. Doing seminars and having artists like that together, like it used to be. I mean, do you feel like that's changed? For you over like the past 10 years?
I mean, I've done a few seminars, and I was actually supposed to have a seminar, and then all this shit happened. So it's been rescheduled to whenever every conventions open up, because it was supposed to be at the beginning of the Rochester convention. That's when the seminar was going to be the day before.
Nice.
I love seminars. If I'm going to a convention and there's actually like one that like kind of piques my interest, I'll step in there and listen to it and watch it and stuff like that. So I think seminars are great. I mean, if I've ever had any, not so much with tattooing, but like using Procreate, all I did was go on YouTube and watch seminars of people telling me how to use it. So
yeah,
seminars are great, man. Like why go to college and pay to learn when you can just learn it for free on YouTube?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of like webinars and stuff that are seemingly more popular than in-person seminars. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, these things aren't going to be happening for a long, long time. Anyways, conventions or seminars, or
Yeah.
gatherings. So like really, like the more you talk about it, it's more like I really wish I could, pack up my stuff and go to a convention. I was supposed to do Chicago. I was really excited about it. I got family out in Chicago, so it was gonna be like an opportunity to kind of like, two birds with one stone. And
it's a fun one.
That got canceled as soon as the whole virus started sprouting up. But I looked into a couple things. Like I went over the break. I was really interested in assembling machines, and I bought Seth Safari's workshop, his online
Nice.
seminars and stuff. So
was that pretty knowledgeable and cool? 'Cause I heard he like
You
he would
got
actually
ties with the dude? Because like I'm not trying to
no,
throw
so
shade.
I don't. I'm sure he wouldn't remember me, but I've met him a few times.
Yeah.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He likes to
No.
make money.
Yeah. So I've always been a fan of his machines. My first machine was a Sessafari Wiener Dog, and
Yeah.
I did my first couple years of tattoos with only that thing. Like I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. I recently bought like a one of the same machine, the same frame from him earlier this year, and I got it, and a day later the rear spring snapped.
Okay.
I had to replace it myself. Maybe he did it on purpose, so I bought his webinar on how to change a rear spring, even though I already knew how. But I've been he comes out like every week with like a hour long question and answer kind of at his shop. He's like looking at the camera like this, and he's
Yeah.
fiddling with things. Um, I watched an episode and like the first 20 minutes was him like just chatting to the people in the group chat, and then it was 20 minutes of him and his buddy trying to blow up capacitors, and then he says one thing about a shim, and then it's over, and I'm like, damn, like.
And how much did that cost you?
Well, so this whole thing was like a collective like $400, but
wow.
when COVID hit, he was like a pay what you can plan, and the lowest amount was $50, so I paid the $50 because
Yeah.
I was like, I can afford $50, but
Yeah.
if I had paid $400 for this,
You'd
I
be
would have sent him
pissed.
I would have sent him a lengthy email and been like, bro,
Yeah.
I haven't learned shit. I really haven't. But
That's
luckily
crazy.
we live near Jay Kelly. He owns Pulse Tattoo Supplies out of
Nice.
Connecticut now, and he's been a machine builder for a long, long time. So I spent a bunch of days over at Pulse during the quarantine thing of him
Oh,
showing
nice.
me how to you know uh, you know solder
Rolls.
coils
Oh,
and
yeah,
roll
yeah.
coils and do the whole
Put a
thing. And
shim in there and shit.
yeah, and I learned more from him in 20 minutes of dicking around at the shop than I did with my $400 that I didn't pay
Yeah.
webinar. But the idea is there. I think that's cool. I think if people want to do that, that's fine. But you gotta like really
Have content and have commitment.
have content and have a actual
Yeah.
like an actual plan, like an actual curriculum. Instead of being like,
Yeah.
what should we talk about today? This one little minuscule obscure thing that I do with my machines. Sure.
Yeah.
You want to see some stuff blow up? Sure. You want to see it's
Yeah.
kind of.
I think I think a lot of times you're just paying for the name, and that sucks because you should be getting the content with it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I gathered that too from going to Philly and meeting Tom Haley. Like this dude was like a real dude. Like he was just so straightforward.
Yeah.
That the machines were honestly priced. I ended up buying like a clip cord and a foot pedal from him too. Like I was like, I really love this machine, man. Like I went back to my booth, took one of my Dan Cubans, put it on the table and sold it for $400 to the guy across from me, ran
Nice.
back to Tom Haley and bought a liner. Like I
Nice.
just
That's
loved
awesome.
it that much. So I feel like being a newer tattooer, and I think we were talking about this earlier. I think with me and Angelo were talking about earlier, these guys that you like idolize, for whatever they do, tattoo or build or whatever. And then slowly, when you get more into tattooing and you meet these people, some of them like aren't always what you
Trust me.
thought. You know what I'm saying? So
There's a couple that I used to look up to a lot, like damn near worship, and they say never meet your idols.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish I never met some of them because amazing tattoo artists, just piece of shit people on the personal end.
yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I met Pee Wee Herman, and that was life changing. Like I was so
it's Pee
excited.
Wee Herman.
Yeah, that dude, like he talked to me for like a full half hour. Like that dude was a man. Like
that's awesome.
It was so cool. But I mean, that's not tattoo related. But still, he's been an idol of mine forever. Like I think he's hilarious, and that was cool. But yeah, with tattooing, it was like, especially approaching people, and actually messaging them and requesting things. Like I was like, hey, I'm interested in like a one-off, frame that I've had it for a couple years, since I started. I love it. It was like your workhorse assembly line tattoo machine. I want like a custom one. And then like a couple weeks go by, and I'm like, hey, what's up with that machine? And he's like, what were we doing again? And I'm like, the wiener dog frame, like the one, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, and then like so I at least try to be like enthusiastic when people are like kind of
or try
hyping
to
you
be
up and are excited,
a little bit more professional too, like
Yeah,
have your shit together.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand how like tattooers are like as people, like we all just kind of
Not all of us, because I like me and a couple other people were very structured and organized. I mean, I hate to. That's a bad rep for a lot of tattooers, but there are some of us that are more organized than others.
Well, I'm not saying like they're all like unorganized or rude or something like that. I meant like sometimes we're busy. You know what I'm saying? So like I felt bad, like I was annoying this guy, and
Gotcha.
he's like, how long you been waiting? Like I've had people wait longer, and I'm like, oh, sorry, man, I'm just excited, just just waiting forward to the machine I wanted from you specifically, like
I would probably get butthurt when he said I've had people wait longer. Like, okay, well now you can wait. You can wait for money because I ain't sending you shit. So go fuck yourself.
Except I had to send him the money the moment I talked to him. He's like, oh, send me this, and then I'll get to it. And it was just like,
what he meant to say is send me the money, I'm gonna spend it, and then I'll get to the machine when I want to.
That is kind of how it went, but
yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Where do you feel like things have changed for you ever since you were on TV? And
I just gotta plug my phone in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we're all at that point.
Let's see.
Do you feel like things have changed for you ever since you were on TV, you were on Ink Master and stuff like that?
1 second, I'm gonna try to plug this in. Honestly, yes, some things have changed, but other things not really. The main thing, I was already kind of, sorry if it's darker, but I gotta plug it in.
Good.
Is that plugged in? Let me see. Sorry, my battery's running dead. Oh, it's not charging. When you need it to charge. Come on.
Gotta love that when the cords don't come through. You rubbing on the firewire.
Yeah, there we go. Now it's charging.
Getting at that body oil.
Yeah, right. Ink Master really didn't change too much, other than just more of I treated it like it was a promotions. Every week it was just an advertisement for me. You know what I mean? I was already pretty busy before that, so getting on the show was just an added bonus. If anything, I just get a lot more emails about stupid shit, fucking little Pinterest tattoos and things like that, which I could probably charge a lot of money, but I don't.
That's a surprise that it would bring more of those type of clients too, because I would have thought to some degree it would bring people that would be more interested in what they saw or what they know to be something more that you do, especially with the coining the term tattoons in a way and
you have to think about
flexing on that.
The demographic for Ink Master is soccer moms, so I'm dead serious, literally I think 85% of it is just 35 to 45 year old women that are married and have kids. You know what I mean? So those are the people that are hitting you up wanting to get tattoos.
This would
Give me
probably
a second. I actually take a bathroom break, so keep going.
This would probably be my main question. I've talked to a few people that have been on the show, and clearly, I mean, people outside the industry are probably the ones that watch it the most, and then within the industry, it's extremely controversial as far as its relevance or its reality, or whether or not it's some way, shape, or form selling out or this and that. I'm curious on what your overall experience with the show was. How did you, what kind of opportunity did you see it as, or what was your main drive to go on the show?
Like I said, my main man, I'm sweaty. The AC is off in the house. My main drive was just, like I said, promoting and getting advertising and things like that. I had no qualms at all going on it. And I grew up watching MTV Real World and Road Rules and things like that.
Hell
So
yes, hell
I
yes.
love I love reality TV. So to go on and be on a TV show and kind of do the whole film thing was fucking awesome. I loved every minute of it.
Cool.
There's like two types of people that would go on the show. You'd have the people that were serious trad tattooers or serious tattooers in general, and they want to be represented, and they don't want to come off looking like fools and stuff like that. And then the other ones like me and Clean Rock One and Josh Payne and all these other people, we just pretty much said, we're characters on a show, so let's just give them what they want. You know what I mean? Because we also had friends that were on past seasons, and those friends, were edited out pretty much. Like if they didn't speak up and they were real quiet, and they're like, we'll just let our work speak for ourselves. That's great, but in the end, you didn't really give any content to production, and they kind of just edit you out, and you're in the background. You know what I mean?
I've seen very little of the show, but from what I've seen of it, I mean, like there are these like main characters, like Clean Rock One. He's very, people know him from Ink Master. He had this personality, and he had this way of talking, and uh, from what like you can maybe, I don't know what you're kind of like allowed to give away or not. Like
I'll give away anything. I don't give a
fuck. how is like how I from what I've heard, like these people aren't exactly who they are when it comes to um how they act like on TV, and like I've been told there was like some scripted aspects where like, hey, get a little angry, like or we're gonna put you in a hot room and you can't eat for 6 hours.
Oh, that's 100% right. So like it's not scripted, but they basically there was nice. So like it takes 3 days to film an episode. So like the first day is the Flash challenge, and then they'll come in and they judge you, and you find out who wins the Flash challenge. The second day is you do the tattoo in the morning, and then you go upstairs. You have reality, which is us filming us sitting around talking shit to each other. You do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. I'm sorry. The second day is you do the tattoo, and then the third day is all reality and then judging. For the reality, nothing is scripted, but you have producers. Like each person or like a couple people have a producer that they're talking to all the time, and the producer's job is to kind of find weave stories together. Like, oh, you have beef with this person, or like like you're like the like you kind of have a storyline or an arc, if that makes sense. And
so they're trying to like form
a story
content, by kind of like poking and prodding and seeing
exactly
what's
up. So they'll be literally be standing behind the camera, and they'll be like, tell him what Clean said about your tattoo, and then you're like, well, yeah, your tattoo sucks, and then you just start talking shit. So like they're basically you tell all the producers after you do the tattoo, you'll go to the producers, or the producers will come to you and be like, hey, what did you think of DJ Tabby's tattoo? I'm like, oh, dude, he fucking shit the bed, like that, blah blah blah. And then when they're doing reality scenes, they're behind the camera saying, Tom, you remember when you said DJ's tattoo sucked? And then they go film, and then you have to talk about it.
Wow.
So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of they have to film so many reality scenes that the network approves of. So like there's plenty of nights where they were like, hey, you're not gonna get any food until you give us 2 more scenes. So like they would kind of like dangle a carrot in front of you, and so then I'd look at someone and be like, hey, do you want to fight? Do you want to have an argument? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then we would have an argument together. And then
that's amazing.
Depending on if that person was like cool, we after we done yelling at each other, we'd all like give each other a high five and say, well, that was awesome, good scene, you know what I
mean? Nice.
Yeah. So that like there's nothing scripted, but like it's kind of forced reality, I guess you'd say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My uncle's a big fan of the show, and I remember going to Tommy's and like I recognized some faces from the show, and I'd text him, I'd be like, hey, the guy with the overalls is at Tommy's, and he's like, oh, I love that guy, blah blah blah. And so then I'd like take a selfie with him and send it to him, and he would just like flip out like he was like the biggest celebrity he's ever seen in his life. And like he's just like, to me, he's just like another tattoo guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like, but Like he loves the show. He just loves it.
Yeah. But to answer your other question is, in the industry when the show first came out, it was very like divisive, and like a large majority of all the tattooers hated it because like it's not real tattooing, it's drama.
Yeah.
But now, like, what was it, 13 seasons in? I really don't think any tattooers really give two shits about it anymore. Like some watch, some don't. I mean, when you started getting like Jesse Smith on there, and even Clean Rock One and Kelly Doty, Ryan Ashley, and
Even
like
Litwalk.
Yeah, Litwalk. Craig Foster. When you were getting all these like names behind, kind of back in the show, it kind of gave it a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Legitimate. It legitimized it. You know what I mean? I've been saying for years, like they've been hitting up like some of the most famous tattooers in the world, and they're just like, no, I won't do it. And I'm like, but then those same tattooers bitch about like the shitty tattooers that are on there. I'm like, if everybody that is like phenomenal all fucking said yes and they were on the show, think of how good that fucking season would be. That it's all fucking like top of the tier tattooers going head to head, but everyone's ego is just so fucking fragile. They don't want to risk, ruining their brand or their reputation or
you
anything
think
like
they're
that.
afraid to go on it so that they
100%.
to get like last place, or still like booted off the island first.
Yeah.
So,
because even on, I was on season 9, even on our season, like if like everybody goes home for the most part, you know what I mean, and if you were the first shop to get sent home, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to be the first.
But they
shop.
probably went home, and then that shop was probably booming.
Oh yeah, for 100%. Yeah, every dude, like
everyone's prices go up, and then
exactly. Even the like you got your cliche ghetto tattooers that are on there, and you might, me and you and a certain style of tattooers, we probably go, oh, they just do like whatever tattoos, all they're like because everybody goes, oh, to be on the show you have to be the best of the best, and I go, no, that's not true at all. I go, they did their interviews, and they did really good interviews, and they showed that they're going to be confrontational and be cocky and things like that, so that's why they got on the show. But like even those guys, like even if they got voted off the first episode, they went home and they fucking like they're huge in their area,
That makes sense.
What was your opinions on the judges?
Well, I knew Oliver beforehand because I had done the warp tour a number of times, and I knew him in the past from that. And then Dave Navarro, I mean, I'm a 90s kid. I grew up in the 90s, so like I fucking love Jane's Addiction and Red Hot Chili Peppers. So Dave's fucking awesome. That dude actually knows more about artwork and art and fine art more than anybody that I've ever met. Like he knows a ton about art. So like when he talks about composition and all this other shit, I listen because he actually knows what he's talking about. And then Chris Nunez, like he's a fucking solid tattooer. I respect the fuck out of him. He's a no bullshit kind of guy. And the cool thing is, like the first episode, in between scenes, he came up to us and said like, hey man, I can't do what you guys do. And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, I couldn't come on a show and be under all these lights, no music playing, and fucking do a tattoo and not be nervous. He's like, I shit my pants. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I watched him tattoo a little bit in March at the Tommy's booth at the Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, he was there,
and he was cool to watch him. And like this dude had like a bottle of Luna, and he's like pouring it into some cups. I'm like, oh, is this guy like? This guy's like the real deal,
fun,
isn't he? Like this guy. He's doing like
awesome
he's doing a Japanese dragon. He poured like this big bucket of Luna blue, and I'm like, whoa, this guy's using powdered pigments, man. Like this guy's cool.
I mean, he comes old. He's old school, and he's OG. He's from the first, Miami Ink. So he knows how to do it.
Miami Ink's crazy too. Like I used to watch the little like 2-minute clips on YouTube because I wasn't really watching the show, and you can't find the full episodes anywhere. And I a long time ago when I was watching, I was like, oh, these guys are probably just like kind of like half-assed dudes, whatever. And like Chris Garver is one of the
fucking amazing,
in my opinion, one of the greatest Japanese tattooers that is not Japanese. This dude is maybe even of all time is like one
of my favorite tattooers of all time is Tim Hendricks.
Tim
Hendricks is on there. The fuck, man.
Yeah,
Dude's
Tim
ridiculous.
Hendricks, amazing. Chris Garver, amazing. Even Ami James, like he does cool tattoos. Like
he's well known in New York City for a long time before that, you know. So yeah, I think now people really just don't give two shits about the show. Like there's no, it's not like how it kind of was when it first started, where they're like, oh, you were on that show, or fuck that shit. You know what I mean? I think people are just like, whatever. It's part of our industry now. And at the same time, they can't bitch about it too much because it gave a boom to the tattoo industry that we needed. You know,
it
it's just
brings
like,
the money in. That's why I would never complain about something like that. It's like
you can't bitch about Pinterest too, because Pinterest brings the people in too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those stupid small tattoos are what kind of give us those bigger tattoos.
Yeah.
Was there anybody that you knew before going on the show that after they went on the show themselves just like turned into a different kind of person? Like did their ego like jump up? They're like they're like a rock star now, and like, you know, they're all ink mastered out. You know, like has it really changed people, or has everyone been like? Does everyone kind of know what it is, and you know, once it's over, it's over. You know.
Yeah, I think everyone knows what it is. You got your minute. You got your little time in the spotlight. You know what I mean? I will say that some people, they really feed off of it and they love it. Not so much that it changes their attitude, but like you could tell that they are just addicted to it. And that obviously that's, you know, Ryan Ashley, that's Clean Rock One, and that DJ Tamby especially. I love me and DJ are from the same Rochester, same city. So DJ fucking loves that shit. He loves being on TV. So, you know,
it's not the first time he's been on a show.
No, he was on Best Ink too, which was
he was on Best Ink.
Great show.
When I was in Philly, I drove up to Philly. When I drove up to Philly with Tommy's, and Tommy was doing the convention in March with Steve Teft, who won season 1 or 2.
Okay, so Steve.
Well, let me tell this dude.
Go ahead.
Dude, like, so we met him there, and we went out to like this fancy Italian restaurant. Who we didn't know, but all the other tattooers were at that restaurant at the same time. So I'm sitting at the table with Tommy's group, Tommy and Steve Teft, and Tommy's trying to just have like conversation with me, talking about video games. He's like, "Oh, you got a Switch? Like, what do you play?" And Steve Teft is like, he's going off, like he's getting up out of his chair, going to every table, being like, what's up, rubbing people's shoulders, and like, you know, he was walking around like he thought like the waitress was gonna like recognize him from like a TV show, like he was like Joe Manganiello or something. And I'm like, dude, no one knows who you are. Like
I'm friends with Steve. I love Steve.
He was a cool dude, but he was off the wall.
He wants the attention. Like he walks around and he's like, don't you know who I am? You know?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly how it was. And he was friendly to me. He wasn't like off-putting or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the way he like presented himself was like, I am like on a different level. Like
he's always waiting for that one person to recognize him, so he can go, oh yeah, great to meet you, blah blah blah.
Sick.
Yeah, I met him a couple times too at the Times convention. So, I mean, nice guy. You can definitely tell he's like all about himself.
Oh yeah, it's funny too because like when did you watch the season where he was one of the judges? Was that him? He was one of the coaches. Remember? Do you remember that one?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's so funny because like he's a good tattooer, but he's not on the same level as a lot of the newer ones. You know what I mean? So like, you know, he's competing against DJ and Anthony Michael, who are phenomenal tattooers, and like he's like, I won Ink Master, blah blah blah, and they're like, yeah, so did we, and you know, but, like if you look at the first season of Ink Master, and then you look at the 10th season or 11th season, the tattoos are night and day. Like those tattoos from the first season looked like amateur tattoos. You know what I mean? No disrespect, but tattooing has grown so much more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like his claim to fame is, you know, winning season 2 or whatever it was, and it's like, yeah, try again, bro. I love him though.
Yeah, the talent that they're able to pull out now is sick. Like they get some people on that are really fucking blowing my mind. Like the the three competitors even for this year, they were all just like so sick. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Any of their portfolios are like ridiculous. And I definitely like I got.
You got to keep in mind too is like, you could be a great tattooer, but like, do you know how to tattoo with a clock? Literally, they literally have a clock over your head that says 6 hours, and if you don't finish, you don't finish. Some people can't tattoo like that.
Yeah, I think you got to be in touch with your abilities. You definitely have to know what you can do in the amount of time that you have, and like hopefully put that shit out of your mind until it's really dialing close, right?
Yeah, I learned by the second episode that because the first episode we barely finished the tattoo. You have to do a 4 hour plan for a 3.5, 4 hour long tattoo because they're gonna take breaks. There's so many variables that happen. So just try to draw a 3.5, 4 hour long tattoo and just
Good
take
tip.
your time.
Good tip.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be stressful.
Oh, it is, but
like,
it's also it's addicting too. You know what I mean? I'm very competitive, so like I got once. I think by episode 3 or 4, me and my partner got in the swing of it, and we were pretty comfortable.
Yeah. So, yeah, wasn't your season the one where they had to do like ice sculptures or something like that, some crazy shit like that?
First episode, but yeah, I had a partner, and what a lot of people overlook in our season is we didn't get to tattoo like, they were collab tattoos, but it wasn't like, oh, you do 3 hours, he does 3 hours. We had to switch every hour for every tattoo. That's like fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do a collab that it really like it's very confusing as to if there are different rules. I could see that like tripping you up a lot.
Yeah. It was like me and Angela did it was my first collab. We did a back piece together. And that was interesting. That was interesting in itself. The dude sat there, he took it in, we did like 6 hours.
This was a 2 machines at once.
Fuck that.
Yeah, the guy's an animal.
No fucking way.
Like I had done a piece on his shoulder, Angela had done a piece on his shoulder, that Angela had done this like huge like ship on his back, and then he's like, I'd love it, I'd want both you guys to kind of work your magic together. So it was one day and it was just us two and just fucking went ham on it for like 5 hours. We touched each other's stuff up and just got in there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that dude took it like a champ, I'll tell you that much.
I've tattooed like that. I've done collabs like that, and I'm just like, I don't know how they know when to breathe because you're always catching your breath,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, just hold it the whole time.
Yeah, right. And then you die.
So I have one last question. That I don't know. It's a weird question, but it's more of like an opinion. Like I'm looking for your perspective on it. So as a relatively newer tattooer, I'm confident in my ability. Like I feel like I am going to always be kind of progressing. I'm not going to become stagnant. I'm not going to like fall behind. And I do well. But as far as like how saturated the industry is with tattooers that just like I've seen them like they just shouldn't be tattooing because they're never going to get to a point where they're good. But my opinion is like or my question is like, what is your opinion on the common tattoo collectors or purchasers or buyers or whatever, and what they consider to be like a good tattoo? Like what's your opinion on like where is that level right now in your eyes? Like what do you think people are looking at it as a good tattoo? Because people that shouldn't be tattooing are making money, like they're making a lot of it. So,
I mean, I'm seeing like, there's that one guy that does you ever see those patch tattoos?
Yep.
And the guy that actually does it, I think, is from Brazil or someplace over there. If you look at his tattoos, they're fucking solid. But so many people are replicating that, and the tattoos look like garbage. They're just scratched in there. I don't know if you zoom in on those and see those, the people that are doing those, and like those and people are loving them, and I'm like, these will not hold up. These look like garbage. Like there's no skill in these whatsoever. You know, those I fucking hate those tattoos. A lot of the watercolor tattoos, like they just look like a hot mess, and there's some people that can, like, Find Your Smile does a great job.
Yeah, Russ killed it.
Russ pounds it in, but there's a bunch of other ones that just I don't even know if they know how to draw. You know what I mean? It's just fucking ridiculous. There's definitely, like, that's the ones that get me. Have you ever heard of John Boy? No. He's out of New York City. Does these fucking tiny little tattoos. They barely look like they're in the skin. Like, or he'll do, like, like right here, he would do like never swim, or some fucking stupid little tiny script that probably took 2 minutes to do, and it would have a million likes. I mean, the dude's got, like, I think 1 million followers, and I'm like, how the fuck? That's the shit that frustrates me, is the shittiest tattoos are getting the most followers and the most likes, and these people are obviously making a lot of money.
And I'm struggling, where it's like I am doing, I try to say it in like the most humble way possible for my area, for my demographic. I'm doing bold, solid tattoos, and like I just see these, up and comers, like first years, and like their work is just like not good, but their social media is packed with comments like, "You were born to do this. You're amazing. Keep going." And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there are so many things wrong with what I'm looking at. And they're out there, they're tattooing all day long, every day, and they're making all this money, and they get to do like just the worst crap is coming out of these places, and they're just making all this money. And here I am with an actual like ability, and I'm constantly pushing it and learning, and I'm still trying to get past my like 12 solid clients right now and branch out. And I got like a couple thousand Instagram followers. I'm still trying to figure out how Instagram fucking works. I'm trying to branch out and get more people. I just made a website. Like I'm trying to look a little bit like a higher tier than these like kind of run-of-the-mill dudes that are making these like half-ass tattoos, but like 5 times as much money as I am. So like I don't see, like I just want to know what am I doing wrong? Like where am I at? Like to where I'm
first
not.
Of all, you're not doing anything wrong. Second of all, there really is no fucking science to why these people are getting. I honestly, I think it's maybe they're a little bit. How old are you?
28.
Maybe they're early 20s. You know what I mean? Maybe even 18. They're a lot more in depth with social media. They know how it works. They know the ins and outs. I think this is a clear case of, they figured it out. They can put out a mediocre product and get so many fucking like likes and bookings and everything from it. Obviously, you're gonna have your little fanboys that are gonna suck their dick, even though they're doing those shittiest tattoos whatsoever. So like I always say, don't comment on their comments, because you're just gonna get 20 people that are gonna say, fuck you, your tattoo sucks, his is great. You know what I mean?
I would never like jump on like an actual tattooer's page and be like, I don't like this is wrong. But like I lurk and I look, because I need to know what's in my area. I need to know who's doing what around me, because I gotta figure out what is I gotta figure out how to make more money, like figure out how to pay.
My big thing is I'm real big on branding, so like I always have my logo stamp on watermark on every picture. I have to post one thing every day, whether that's a tattoo, a painting, an upcoming convention, a fucking toy. And then I actually have if you read my captions, they're actually not written by me at all. I have a manager that runs my Instagram. So
nice.
And I basically, at the end of the day, I send him what I want posted tomorrow, and like he writes up, and actually, because I can't spell to save my life, my English is horrible. So he writes up a really good, caption, and then he also looks up the popular hashtags with the most followers, and he gets all that on. And there's a science to that. So I would say that a lot of my success on Instagram, at least, is based off of him. His name's Paul. It's Spotlight Marketing, and he does a fucking fantastic job. And he's the one that tells me like, hey, because before he was doing my captions, he was just telling me like, hey, post it. 11 a.m. Today, because that's when your algorithm's the highest, and your
Yeah, I just don't fathom any of that stuff. Like I just
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you kind of have to adapt with the times, or you might get lost in the shuffle. And I figured that all along. I fucking hate going on Instagram. I fucking hate going on Facebook, all that stuff. I refuse to do, what's the one, TikTok? I'm not fucking doing TikTok. Screw that shit. But yeah, unfortunately you got to kind of just, it's a means to an end, and if you want to stay relevant, you have to kind of do that shit. You know what I mean?
Right,
like if Instagram left today and it was fucking TikTok, I'd be on fucking TikTok, even though I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know there's not a real good answer to what your question, but it's
right.
one of those things. Who the fuck knows?
It wasn't even like a direct question. It was more of just like just a bunch of thoughts, and then it was just like, why? Like, please help me. Like, how do you see this? Because like, as like a normal like day-to-day tattooer, I'm trying to push towards doing like my style. So obviously you're not going to have all the clients in the world right off the bat. Not everyone's coming in for a lady head or a fucking panther or whatever. But then you see these people that are a couple towns away from you. They just started tattooing, and it's like they're just blowing up, and you're just like, you do know I'm over here, right, guys? Like, you do know I'm right down the street. Like, what's up? Like, I'm doing quality. Like, come on over.
I wish I had a good answer, but just know that I'm not tuning that I'm like at a certain level, but I'm even I'm seeing it every day and go, how the fuck did that guy just get 50,000 likes? Like, what the fuck is his stuff is shit. I'm saying that too, so you're not the only one.
It's funny because we actually have our coworker Megan. She's Angela. She was Angela's apprentice. She does some smaller, nice Pinterest stuff, and I think at one point she had done I think it was a set of lines of different colors, like rainbow colors, and she had gotten a ton of likes. I don't know if you remember this, Angela. This is like last year.
Yeah, she slays, dude. She slays.
Yeah, she slays, though. You know what?
It's it's the sensibility, the trendiness of the designs mixed with the clients who are getting it and who's posting, sharing, all that stuff. Like, she's definitely got like a really great community already. She kills on the social media.
She's a girl, fucking like. I hate to say it.
Hell yeah.
I mean, like my last apprentice was a girl, and she fucking has more appointments than I do. Like right now, she has more appointments than I do. Like, it's just, I mean, some girls I guess have a hard time, but I would say a majority of the girls that tattoo have a lot of fucking appointments, because most guys wouldn't mind getting tattooed by a hot girl, and most girls want to get tattooed by a girl because it's comfortable. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is like, you have a lot of simple-minded people that don't understand tattooing, and when they see something that's cute or delicate or whatever, that's what attracts people more. Compared to someone who's been working 6-7 hours on this one big piece with so much detail and texture and everything.
Perfect example of that, Dennis, is when you go to a tattoo convention and they're having the contests. 9 times out of 10, what's gonna win best tattoo of the day or best of the show?
Kevin Boudreau.
Well, Kevin Boudreau if you're in Tommy's, but
exactly.
Technically, all right.
That's where we go.
Side note with that, I did technically beat him out for 4th place on Tattoo of the Day.
There you
go. But don't get me wrong, I love his work too, because he's also a new school artist.
Yeah, Kevin's great.
Kevin's
usually it is realism. Realism, it tends to beat everything out.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I won my only award, it was a machete where inside the blade it was Camp Crystal Lake, and it was just a bunch of stuff in it, and had kind of traditional feel to it, and I ended up coming like 4th place. But yes, I've entered in other contests, and especially like some new school ones, and I got my ass handed to me in those. I'm like, fuck, dude. but
usually it's realism that it's just because the judges and the people in the crowd always recognize it more, you know.
Yeah, it all depends on judges. All depends on whether you know those judges. You know, that's a big part of it too. So my mentor, I think he was out in Chicago a couple years ago. And he had entered his wife in a piece he did, and it was a zombie hand holding an ice cream cone. Sick piece. It was a really cool piece, and he lost because of the fact that most of the judges kind of knew the people who tattooed these other people, like the clients. So that's also an issue, like in that aspect. And I don't even want to get into that, but like I feel like realistically, like you have simple-minded people who want to get Pinterest tattoos, and it's just like that. Those little small, little dinky tattoos are what people really love compared to something that like is a full saturated piece.
Well, yeah,
like,
I mean, if you're going to do those tattoos primarily, like Megan, like she does those tattoos primarily because that's what calls on the phone. She's a tattooer. She's doing all those things. So like, I'm not looking at Megan as like, okay, so she's, I helped teach this girl how to tattoo, but she's making all more money than me. She's making more money than me because she's doing the stuff I don't want to do. So like, I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm just.
She doesn't want to get associated in that aspect too, because I've talked to her about it. She doesn't want to get
no
comfortable being like that, like doing those simple things. She wants to do other stuff.
Yeah, she has been lately too.
The issue is I'm just worried about where I'm worried about where our demographic of clients is going, where they want that little tiny tchotchke stuff, and then they're sitting there getting the little outline of the flower done, and they look over at my station and I'm doing some crazy saturated color traditional, but that's my only appointment for the day, and she's got 10 more little flowers to do, and she's making the money. But she doesn't want to get stuck doing that, but unfortunately, she got to do it to survive.
I tell people I turn down more tattoos than I tattoo. You know what I mean? That I approve. You know what I mean? Like I fucking I mean if I get 10 requests, I would say 7 of them I say no to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I tell people, if you want to be a custom tattoo artist, I honestly think you're going to make less money than those people that are doing the bangers all day long. You know what I mean? Those people are, but they're solid fucking pieces. It holds your skill. I worked in a couple walk-in shops for 10 years before I started doing, all custom stuff. You know what I mean? That shit will home you. It will make you precise and better. You're making a lot of money. I feel like if you want to get into custom shit, sacrificing the money aspect, but you're going to be happier because you're doing more of what you want to do.
Yeah. Me and Angela had to talk about that the other night. I was saying like I am sacrificing a lot of basically money. I mean, I'm in a state right now financially where I survive off of the appointments I'm doing, but I'm only getting to do things that I want to do, but I'm doing less tattoos.
Less of them. Yeah.
But I'm getting better at tattooing because of it, because there's not these little things in between that are like infinity symbols that are throwing me off, and then I get discouraged because I didn't do that figure 8 fucking perfect, but it's just like, I'll have a week and it's just like lady head, and I'm just like, and each one I'll just do better and better and better, and I just feel myself progressing, but I didn't have a day full of writing on the ribs and writing down the spine and stuff like that, and pocketing all the tips and like doing what I used to do when I was first starting. But that's why like I've even tried to help at the shop we're at, hire more people, so that the fact that I'm not doing as much is taken care of by other people, so I can focus on doing what I'm doing, so eventually it'll boom. I'm waiting for that moment where things boom and people start catching on and being like, okay, this guy does that stuff and he's nearby, whether that might take a few more years, and I'm prepared for that,
for sure.
But yeah, you do take a hit, you do, yeah, but it's only been beneficial for me in a growing way, like as far as tattooing goes. Only doing the stuff that I want to do, it's helping me get better.
Yeah. In the end, you're gonna be happier. You're gonna enjoy those pieces that you do, and you're gonna love them. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because my hardest thing with tattooing was balancing, my favorite thing in the world, which is tattooing, but balancing the fact that I have stress issues and anxiety issues and stuff like that, and all these little tattoos all day long was making it not as enjoyable. It was work that had to be done, but I was stressing out so much, and I was before every person would come in, like I'm trying to draw these little things, and I'm getting so worked up, and the clients are one way and the other way, and it was just I was going home just like not satisfied, and
Yep.
it was ruining my relationship with my coworkers, and I was kind of shop hopping and trying to find like where I could do only this stuff, realizing that the opportunities I was searching for weren't really opportunities, and they were actually more so mistakes and disasters in their own way. And then kind of coming back to where I first started and being like, I'm gonna just try to do things this way and see where it goes. So
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
and it's been beneficial, I think.
For
I
sure.
don't know if Angelo has anything to say about that, but me and Angelo have had a unique relationship since I've met him. He was like the first person to take me on as a tattooer, and then I've
Nice.
left multiple times, and I've come back and forth, and we've had a lot of struggles, with my mental health and tattooing and direction in tattooing, and he's uh, only let me come back and stay with open arms
Nice.
every time. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
uh, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always had a solid relationship. I think there were times where it was pressed more than others, but over the years, I mean, owning a shop and stuff, I've learned to kind of go with the blows, and like you got to maintain those quality relationships and just keep offering a quality place to work and do tattoos and grow. Like for me, it's difficult to find good artists and get good artists, and when I find them, like I want to treat them right, and if they decide, working for me is not the deal, then maybe it's only temporary. So still keep that
Yeah.
positive relationship, and move on, because I want to be neutral or positive in the community. I don't want to be like one of those people that's like lighting all my bridges on fire, though I do that on occasion.
Trust, I worked for somebody who, our bridges have burned up, and it was it was cool for a second, and then you kind of you learn more about this person, and you're kind of like, yeah, this isn't probably the best spot, and then you get let go in that instant, and it's like I look back at it and I'm like, I'm glad that things didn't work out at this place, because you know I've I'm in a better spot now. I feel more confident about myself. I feel more confident about what I do. I get the encouragement of everybody I work with, and I get advice from everybody I work with, and vice versa. Um, Probably one of the best things about being at the shop, being at this shop is like with everybody having their own style. We all kind of rub a little off each other. I think I mentioned this last time in the last our last episode, but it's nice to actually have that support. It's like having another actual family where you work. you know,
Oh
so
yeah.
that's a big part of it, and it's definitely helpful. So,
yeah, our shop is very much like team oriented in a way where we're a bullpen style shop. We don't have rooms, so like we're watching each other tattoo just because we're sitting across from them tattooing,
That's
and like
awesome.
we're always showing each other. I'm always showing my pieces to everybody, whether or not I like them or not, um, just to for multiple reasons, to maybe get critique afterwards, to show obviously the owner like, hey, I'm still trying, every tattoo I'm putting my effort into. It makes the client feel good too, that you want to show it off to
Okay.
all the tattooers around you. And then it also says like, hey, like, be careful because I'm right behind you doing shit like this, like send that boost, try to get people getting up and being like, okay, cool, and then they
Gotta
you
keep
know
them on their toes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure as a shop owner, you see that, you understand that.
I was working next to Josh Payne. I had to be on my toes all day
Yeah,
long.
dude, he pumps out some shit that blows minds. The fucking piece he did with the chimp, like, that tattoo, man. I don't know. That's one of my top 10 of all time favorite tats. Like, I fucking love that thing. And like I've always liked his work, and then seeing that, like, well, I was just blown to a different, place. I was like, he really took this like to a whole new level here with that one. How do you feel about like, artist retention or finding artists as a shop owner? Maybe we can cover that, and maybe we can cover what was the subject that you were just on? Maybe I'll remember it after. But how do you feel like so far, running your shop, and like, do you have people chomping at the bit to just work with you because of the work you're able to produce, or are you like doing a specific thing to kind of like stay in the community and kind of like keep touch and cherry pick some artists when you get the chance or have the spot?
You talking about my shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a private studio, so, and we're like on the second floor. We're not advertised whatsoever. Like, if most people in Cortland probably don't even know we're there, which we like, because like we all tattoo pretty much out of town people anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. We also, our town in Cortland, it's a college town, so there's already like I think 4 or 5 tattoo shops
Wow.
right on Main Street, all next to each other. So like they're doing all the college
Crazy.
kids. So, like college kids coming in. Once in a while, we get a college kid that stumbles upstairs and they said, "Oh, somebody recommended them," and then they ask us how much it is, and we usually say it's like a day session, and they go, and then we pick their jaw up and they walk downstairs. I get a lot of people that do want to come and tattoo, but I don't think a lot of them aren't really at the level where they have like their own clientele, and they're kind of still depending on the walk-ins. And I basically just kind of have to say, listen, we ain't got no walk-ins whatsoever. Like there's none, because it's just all appointments only, So, but we do a bunch of stuff for the community too, because like we had my son's autistic, so we did an autism benefit last year, which we raised almost $10,000. We were supposed to do one this past June, but with the COVID stuff, we had to cancel it. So, we try to do little things here and there to kind of make our presence known, but we're also not like going out and having billboards and stuff like that put up. So
yeah, word.
Nice. Yeah, I know.
I probably got to wrap it up in about 10 minutes, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
It's definitely getting up there. We have a tendency to kind of just keep going. I think last episode we ran for about 3 hours.
Yeah, that's hard. I wish I had that much time. My kids wake up at 5:30 every morning, so I gotta go.
Word.
Oh, damn. Yeah, definitely understand. I guess we'll probably wrap it up soon.
There's some closing thoughts and closing whatever for each of us.
Yeah, and then definitely like some kind of closing thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It's been blast having you. I was actually kind of surprised. Like I wasn't sure if you'd actually be willing to actually jump on here. But it's been fun over the past, I want to say 2.5 hours we've been at it now.
Yeah.
It would definitely be awesome to have you on again.
For sure, man.
Maybe try to get like even Josh on. It'd be nice to actually get a little insight with him too. Maybe have both of you guys on at some point in the future.
It'd be fun.
We definitely learned a lot. We got to kind of chit chat with you, and I was happy because like you've been one of the people I've actually looked up to as a new school artist over the years, and it's been cool to actually kind of be able to pick your brain a little bit. So, and I got to get tattooed by you, so that was also fun too.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for actually being on with us and taking the time that you had.
I'm a social media whore, so I love it. So.
But yeah, that's my final thought on that.
Yeah. So for my people, for my clients, please bsetzlertattoo.com. It's my new website. Online booking is up right now. No more lost DMs, no more lost texts, no more I'll get back to you and then you never hear from me again. You can book your own appointment online at bsetzlertattoo.com. Just leave the deposit that I require and the tattoo appointment is yours. Um, and thank you for all the people that have already done so. Thank you for all the kind words on the website. I put a lot of hard work into it, so thank you very much. Um, and then for any new viewers on YouTube or on here, B Setzler Tattoo is my Instagram handle. Please check out my work. I'd appreciate it. Tom, it was awesome meeting you, and thank you so much for jumping
Thanks,
on
brother.
our little podcast here. We just do this every so often.
Yeah, it's fun.
Every once a week, twice a week. We just have fun, even though we talk to each other all day at work. Anyways, we like to come on here and just kind of like think about whatever, and we have random guests on here every so often. So you're definitely on the higher tier of those guests, but it's an honor. Thank you so much for
We got a
answering my
low
questions.
tier.
Appreciate it so much. So thanks.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. Yeah, we definitely had a good time. I appreciate answering the questions, getting some fresh perspectives on a bunch of the different stuff, like in custom tattooing and like post TV life. So yeah, thanks for the insights. It was a good time, and
No problem,
yeah,
man.
catch you around later. So yeah, episode 7. Thank you for everyone tuning in. TatCast, follow if you're on Twitch. Smash that follow, and we'll catch you
Can I
guys
give
another
can I
time.
give a shout out?
Yeah. Go,
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, shameless self promotion 101. Check me out on Instagram at Bulman_tattoons, and I'm always in the East Coast area. So, also, where you guys are coming from, like Connecticut or anybody, like feel free to grab Dennis or any of these guys from this amazing shop, bring them with you, and come get tattooed by me too. After you get tattooed by them. So, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah,
It was a blast.
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Word.
Cool.
Have a great
Awesome.
night.
Thank you guys.
Night,
See you,
guys.
everybody.